Hello everyone and welcome to Isolation Station. This is the Antisocial Distancing Podcast. This is episode 4 and we're on day, I have watched every single video on YouTube, even that one by Logan Paul, it scarred me, of the lockdown. And we're joined by Ms. Maricella, fan of Harry Potter, but the only thing she has in common is they both live under the stairs. Ms. Maricella, how are you?
Good, George. How are you? I'm fine. Surviving the quarantine. May I correct you? I worked under the stairs. I don't live under the stairs.
That's the way you work. That's very true. You now work in your bedroom.
Yes, that's true. I mean, I have that privilege. I can work from my bedroom now. I mean, sometimes I get tired, but
something a little bit sort of behind the scenes. Miss Maricella actually edits this, and so here for you is a squirrel, Maricella.
Yeah.
That's something for you to work on afterwards.
Thank you, George. More work.
Yes. So an interesting thing that I thought we could do is a new feature on the show, and this is called, we're going to call this Quarantine Tracks.
Okay, cool.
So imagine, if you will, being under quarantine for ages.
Okay. I really hope doesn't happen. Yeah.
Fingers crossed. So imagine you were alone in the lockdown, and the only things that you could take with you are one movie, the complete TV, one complete TV show, an album, and then a luxury item.
Okay.
And then, we'll just talk about what you've chosen. I mean, we both know that you've already chosen those things because we actually had a conversation already.
A very long conversation. We started recording this like 30 minutes, no, an hour ago.
An hour ago, yeah, too long. Let's get it done. So, you at home, let us know if you want us to include anything else on the podcast. If there's somebody you want to interview on the podcast, if there are any topics you want to talk about, or just any comment generally that you want us to mention. Maricella, what should people do if they have something to tell us?
Well, they should write on Instagram. They make Instagram, send us a private message, and we'll read it, and we'll take in consideration for the podcast.
Absolutely. So, Maricella, the first thing that I asked you to think about was the movie that you'd like to take with you on the quarantine. What movie have you decided to take with you?
I decided for The Wizard of Oz. This Asian movie. It's really old. I don't remember which is the year, but
it's 1940.
Something like that. Yeah. And I will take that movie with me because it's a special meaning to me. It's one of the first movie I ever saw when I was a kid with my grandpa. And I remember I was really terrified of the wizard when I first saw it. It was oh my God, it's so scary. And I was really shocked and surprised. And a little bit like that, it was oh, it's just a human. What? And I think I just watched it a couple of times back when I was a kid. And then growing up, I watched it again. And then I enjoy different stuff now. I enjoy the music, the story, the message. And then because I always go to extremes, I either love something, just I'm not interested at all. I was oh, what else I can find regarding the Wizard of Oz? And then I started I started loving musicals. One of my favorite musicals is Wicked, so it's related to the Wizard of Oz. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, I will definitely take the movie, and I really love the whole being in sepia first and then in color. The whole I wish I could live Kansas. I mean, I'm back as a kid. I will actually identify with that. I wish I used to live this way. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, it's a really a special movie for me. Yeah.
Fantastic. And so you were talking about how one of the things that The Wizard of Oz did for you was it made you love theatre.
Yes, it did.
So tell us a little bit about your love of theatre.
Well, I started like, just watching and looking like in videos on internet, like about especially musicals. And the first musical I ever saw like on live, it was in Lima. It was 2012. Like it was like really recently if you think about it. I was really like not longer a kid. It was like a teenager. I was 18 something. And I watched Hairspray, the Peruvian production of Hairspray, and I was like, wow, like you can actually do all this stuff, like just because for me it was like, the magic of entertainment. It's like, oh, the magic of TV and the movie and blah blah. But then to see all that happening like live in front of your eyes, and I love it, and I really like. I was like, wow. And then I just started going always to Lima. It was like if I was ever traveling to Lima, I make sure to book a night or two to go to the theater, watch a musical or just a play actually that I really liked. That's why when they opened the theater here in the city, I was super happy because I no longer have to spend money on buses or flights. So I just kind of use for the taxi and the ticket obviously. So I mean that's cool. I just love it. It's like it works something like the movie or a TV show. You just like pause your life for a minute, you get inside that world with the characters and the story and the villain and everything. And then you're out, but you're out with a message, If it's a good movie and it's a good musical, you're not with you get out of the play with something else. And I think that's the magic of having it like live, like taking place and building it up just in front of your eyes at that exact moment. And each day is different, so it's cool.
Absolutely. Something that I think is fantastic about theatre is that really you can't make any mistakes. So in a movie or in a TV show, you're seeing the best thing that they have done.
Yeah.
Whereas in a musical or a theatre production, you're seeing the only thing that they get to do.
Yes, exactly. They probably could do it better or worse the day before or the day after, but you got the chance to see that that moment, and I think that's cool, especially because it's like a lot of work. It's not. It's like there are a lot of people involved at the same time. What I'm saying is like in a movie or a TV show, you have like the unit who's working on the recording and on the set, and then the crew who's going to work on the edit edition. Like they don't actually all work together at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But in the theater, it's like all of them has to be like, okay, there's the play going on. We have to be focused on that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I really like it.
And so, what would you say that your favorite musical is?
Okay, I would say it was Billy Elliot. All the plays musicals I'm talking about is the one I saw in Lima, and it was Billy Elliot. I really, really love it, especially because it was this kid, like this male, like this boy, who wants to do ballet in a time when it doesn't look appropriate for a kid to do ballet. And you'll think it's something like from 30 years ago, but it's actually like very present, especially in Peruvian society. So I think it was the whole Billy Elliot experience, like all the company who did it, Los Productores, all the campaigns they did for the play. They talk about being brave, like the ballet is for the brave ones. Mm-hmm. That was amazing. Then the play is about a boy who is following his dreams, and how in the parallel his family, his dad and his older brother, they're getting out. They give them out of their jobs, and they are struggling with that, and they don't actually pay attention to him, and he only has like his granny, and it's a lot of things, and he still like gets out of it and do ballet. And he has this teacher who always supports him. So it's like it's amazing, and the music is like great. The music is amazing. I mean, I'm pretty sure the lyrics in English are like super cool, but I mean, the lyrics in Spanish were great as well. And it was like really cool. And it was one of the first musical, or not the first musical, I watched with my brother. We went to the theater together. I mean, and it's amazing. So yeah, and kids doing ballet, that's super cute as well.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've talked about your movie and how The Wizard of Oz means a lot to you. Now let's have a look at the TV show that you'd like to take with you into self-isolation.
Yes, I will take Doctor Who, and because it has like 50 years old. It has
Yeah, it's more than that.
Years?
It's more than that, right? Very, very old, yeah.
It's like 60, 70. It's 70 years old.
Something like that.
Yeah. So it has like
episodes.
Yeah, it has like lots of seasons. So I will never get bored on that island. You mean? I could have like classic Who, new Who, current Who. I don't know. Yeah, it will totally be Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
That's, I mean, amazing.
What drew you to Doctor Who?
Okay, so I've always been into anything that is like sci-fi, like, or fantasy or magic, something that are not actually like can be real. So when I was at the beginning of university, maybe because I mean I think I was starting watching Sherlock, the BBC show, and because I was following some Sherlock forums, they would used to like talk about Doctor Who at the same time. I was like, okay, I need to know what all this fuss is about. And then I just get into a world. I was like, okay, there's no way I would. I mean, it's like this living being, because it's not actually a human, who can travel through time and space in the TARDIS with his time and space machine. And he just go to the past or the future, anywhere. And he always has, the Doctor always has a companion. And I think it's really cool. I mean, now I get it because I'm older and I know more stuff, but through the companion, the person who's watching the show can actually understand the Doctor and the story. The Doctor explains the companion what is happening, what is happening on that specific planet or in that specific period of time, because the Doctor always like knows, because the Doctor has lived like 1,000 or 5,000 years, I think. I don't remember. So I really love that. And the Doctor takes a companion for each like season. It's used to be like, it's usually a girl because the Doctor used to be a male. Anyway, and the thing I really liked is that there are like regular common people, the companion. Yeah, and it's not someone like, wow, extraordinary. No, it's just like a regular folks. And they see in themselves something that they see in them something that they don't see in themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one of the major thing for me is like they make their companions believe in themselves and make great things, even though he's just a living being, like saving the world. But actually, I think that at the end, the hero is actually the companion. But I really love the show. Yeah. And the Doctor has to heart.
Well, he could donate one.
Yeah, that would be cool.
So talking about how the main character is the companion who, when they travel, they learn things about themselves and things like that. I would guess that, Maricella, you've been to many different places. Tell us a bit about traveling and what experience that you've had when traveling.
Well, okay, so recently, I mean, it was last year, I went to Cuninico. This place in Loreto, where there are these indigenous communities. I get to be there because I was part of this group, and it's like a trip I earned, something like that. And it was, the experience of meeting those people was amazing, but it's as amazing as going there. It was like wow. So obviously a flight to Lima, then a flight to Iquitos, from Lima to Iquitos, and that's when everything went like nuts. From Iquitos, I went to Nauta in a van. It was like 1 hour, and then from Nauta, then I get into a boat, and then I was like for like 6 or 8 hours on a boat until another small town. We get there to have food, and then come back to the boat for another like 12 hours or more, and then get out into a town to get food and, you know, wash your teeth or something, and then get back to the boat. And yeah, it was like, I think I left Iquitos on a Tuesday morning, something like that, or Tuesday night. No, Monday night, I left Iquitos, and I arrived to the town Coninico Thursday morning.
Oh wow!
It was like, yeah, it was for me, and I've never been into the jungle, like never in my life. So the people I traveled with, they've been to the jungle before, and they were like, okay, so it's your first experience, and in actually a very like deep jungle experience. Not that it's not like super archy, like mega deep, like to like, no, I didn't meet like native communities, but I just but I do meet like indigenous communities, which was great. But that's by far like one of the most amazing trips I ever did. Then, well, I went to the States for the work and travel program, but something sort of like that happened. Like I almost missed my connection because my first flight was like delayed. I'm gonna have to get to the second flight. I got stopped. So they have to check my suitcase, and I was like, no, I'm gonna miss my flight. This amazing lady really helped me out. I was like, okay, and I was like, it was my first time flying solo to a place where they don't actually speak like my language, and it was my first experience like speaking English with people like only speak English. They were not my English teachers. They were like really English speaker people. And I was always with my ticket, like, my flight is gonna leave right now. And this lovely lady just passed my suitcase through the X-ray. And I had a panettone because I was gonna spend Christmas in the States. And they asked me, what is that? And I remember saying something like, oh, it's like a Peruvian Christmas bread. I'm gonna miss my flight. And she was like, okay, run, girl, run. And I just grabbed my stuff and run. And when I get to my gate, I was in the last group, and the last group was, you know, getting into the flight. So that so awful. But yeah, it was like great.
I always think that traveling solo anywhere really makes you understand a lot more about yourself, and especially how you handle pressure without anybody else to sort of help you.
And I think I did it. I mean, I'm here. I get to Kuniniku and to Wisconsin Dells alive and with all my stuff. So I think I did it pretty well. So yeah, fantastic.
And so going back to Doctor Who, what are some of your highlights of the show?
Well, I really like that they go to the past more than they go to the future, and definitely my favorite episode is one called Rosa, who is about Rosa Parks. And when they went to the past and they met Rosa Parks just like randomly in the park before she do this whole thing of not standing up for the white dudes, for the white dude. And because I mean it's Doctor Who, so it's still sci-fi, no? So there's this mean guy, the bad one, getting to. They also travel to the past because he wanted to stop Rosa Parks from doing that, because that exact moment when she refused to stand up changed history, and he wanted to stop that. And that's when the doctor and her companions join in and was like, okay, we need to stop that, do the stop in Rosa Parks. And it's like very emotional. The music, the actress was amazing. She looked very like Rosa Parks. And as a very like as it should, it leaves you with questions, you know, and questions for like everyone. Like I think especially for me, it was like, I mean, I'm not a Black woman, but I am a white woman with some privilege. And it's like watching that episode, I was like, wow, it questions you what you can actually do with that privilege. And it was amazing. There is this part with Graham, what's his name?
Graham.
Graham. I don't. I never got it right. You know, when he knows like his place was not actually being the main character in that situation. It was just let Rosa do the stuff because that's what you do. They're like us people, as white people, we are the allies. We don't, especially right now with all the George Floyd stuff going on, like Black Lives Matter movement. Your place as white people is you are not a main character, you are an ally, and you have to do something with your privilege. And it was like amazing. Like if you want to watch something during the quarantine, watch that episode. You just need to know a little bit of history, like who's Rosa Parks,
right?
And read the of Doctor Who Wikipedia. So I mean,
the book that I'm currently reading is a book, a letter that Martin Luther King wrote when he was in jail. It's called Letter from a Birmingham Jail, and it's very good, and it sort of relates. And it's I think that obviously the past can tell us a lot about situations that we're currently living in.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, and that's one like my favorite Doctor Who episode, because it makes you think and reflect. That's something we all should do. Like, you know, once in a while, it's like, okay, how am I doing? Am I doing the right thing? Can I do more? Can I do something to actually like change this?
Absolutely.
So
very, very interesting. So I mean, it feels sort of flippant to move on, but we have to. It's the way that this works. So the third thing that you're taking after reflecting on your path, your position in the world, the third thing you're taking to this quarantine is an album. What album have you decided to take?
Oh yeah, you made fun of it. I think already. A Little Bit Longer by the Jonas Brothers.
Okay. Definitely. So why have you decided to take this album that many, I mean, I'm naming no names, many would think that not a very profound album?
Yeah, I know. Actually, when you asked me that question, I was like, I have a few. But then I was like, okay, something that has to be like meaningful, right? So I was in high school. So I was like 12, 13. And so this movie came out called Camp Rock. You hate it, I know. And I really liked it. I ended up having like a huge crush on this boys, especially Kevin. And I really liked it. And after the movie, like I went to the music stores when there still used to be one in Real Plaza, and bought I think it was the first one, my first CD. When, you know, the fix-it one, when there was no Spotify or Apple Music, and all that. And I bought A Little Bit Longer because it was the one they just released. I mean, it was the one that was, I watched the movie, I researched them, and I knew they were gonna like release an album soon. And that, it's the first actually album that I bought that I was waiting for. I mean, and like I was like actually like, okay, when is this album coming to this city? And all my favorite songs, like my favorite Jonas Brothers songs, are in that album. So yeah, I mean, I really love. I was gonna say used to love them, but to be honest, I still do. I mean, they came back for a reason. and I love them.
And
I really hope I see them in concert. It was part of my like checklist to do before I like die or something, and then coronavirus strike because there were rumors they were going to come to Peru this year, and then coronavirus. So yeah, life happens.
And so from last year, I remember that when they came out, you were really excited at work.
Yes, because they did this whole campaign. They just didn't like just say, "Oh, we're back." No, I mean they their social media accounts went black, and I was like, okay, that's something. Like they deleted everything, and I remember I didn't even make an announcement, and I was already like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. It was super, like I was getting excited just for a Instagram profile picture like with a black space. That was the reason of my excitement. And yeah, I mean, we were in the office when they released a video with James Gordon in the carpool karaoke and show he does. And I was just like, oh my god, I'm losing it. And I probably lost it just singing Jonas Brothers songs. This was like, yeah, amazing. Yeah, I tend to listen to a lot to Jonas Brothers when I'm eating, when I'm working, when I'm napping. But yeah, I like at least once a day, I have to listen to Jonas Brothers. So I can't help it.
Going back to talk a little bit about work, obviously you've been working at Mick for a while now.
Yes.
What would you say?
I mean, yeah.
Right. What would you say are the top 3 moments that you remember about working at Mick when we were all working, in the same place rather than from our bedroom?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Okay. Cool. Not out. Okay. I'm trying to. I think I have them. I'm just trying to. Okay. Okay. Top 3. I mean, yeah. Okay. Number 3 will be Fiestas Patrias of 2017. It was the first activity Miss Ale and I had to ever do, and it was this huge production. I remember it was like having 3 stages and lots of shares, and it was gonna have like the symphonic over there and the dance, and that was like a lot. And it was the first one we ever have to do. Like we never ever had to do something like that ever in our lives. I was like super nervous. It was like, oh my god. And I remember because it was the first time we ever have to work with people in charge of doing all this stage and toldos and everything. We stayed like super late trying to making sure those men do their job. So it was and at the end it was amazing. People really liked it. And we're like, okay. And then obviously the next one you just go with it. You already know it's like the worst thing. It's not that bad, yeah. Okay, so that's number 3. Number 2 will be the Bonita challenge, because first we loved the song, and then when we saw them, they did the call to action for the challenge. That we are still waiting for that result. Yeah. We had this because
if you're watching, we're waiting.
Yeah, we're waiting. So the first, so it was like it just like we had this idea of, okay, we need to communicate lots of stuff, and obviously the first thing we ever think of is like the kids. So what the kids are gonna do? We started thinking of the song, and then we wrote the script, and everything just went like super great. And it ended up being something amazing. Like it has like 16,000 views on Instagram. Wow. I mean, Sebastian Yatra shared that video. I will probably put it on my CV, like Sebastian Yatra shared that video. So yeah, it was amazing. Obviously, we couldn't we can't. Probably Elena, we can't listen to that song anymore. It's my Vietnam. And number one will be, well, you were not there, but it's this IV video. We are an IV. We're IV. Is that it was when we got to be the certification of being an IV school for the primary years program. Mm-hmm. We did a video with the kids of Lauber School. They didn't know. I mean, they didn't know it was going to be a video. They only knew that it was going to be a drone. And we had this idea or Ali had the idea of like kids dancing and the drone just recording that. And when they formed the IV logo, it was a lot of work. It turned out it was not as easy as we see it in the music videos. But it ended up being great. And it's the number one because it was the first video we ever did. It was like, I mean, we could have just posted a picture saying, oh, we're in IV, but that's not the thing. That's not the way we do things at MIC. So we ended up doing this amazing video of the kids running and singing, Hey Mickey, in a way that sounded like Hey Mickey. It was amazing. And yeah, it's a number one just because it was fun to watch. Like, I just give me bumps when I see the video of the kids running and then dancing. It was super cool. Yeah, and those kids are probably now some of them are now in upper school now. I'm so old. But yeah, that's my top favorite moment in MIC.
Yeah, fantastic. Lots of really good memories. And so going back to talking about the album, obviously listening to the Jonas Brothers and albums and music, obviously, I mean, really impacted you because you now work in that sort of area.
Yes. So my friends have this the music band. But something I realized like a few years ago is that there are people who are very artistic, who likes to, sing or dance and do theater. But there are other people like me who loves this stuff, but they're actually very that gifted. Mm-hmm. But you can actually, from your point of view, from your professional skills, can actually do something. So I'm like the manager of my friends group, and I've learned like a lot. It's like working, you always do like the publicity and the marketing campaign and you do like the social media and the photos and the videos. So I do that, but with a music band, and it's amazing because like I'm a huge Jonas Brothers fan, but I'm a huge Morat fan or Taylor Swift, and they tend to do these things like really great, like big things, and I'm like, why can't I do it? I don't have the resources or the money, but I mean, I could just adapt that huge, amazing idea to the reality I live in. And I think that's the key. I mean, I think that the key is that for me, it's never like a small project. It's like, okay, if they can do it, I can do it on my way, but there's nothing new under the sun, so you just need to adapt your ideas. So yeah, so that's what I've learned.
Is there anything that that we should look at? Is there anything that you want us to have a look at?
The band? Thank you, George. Okay, this is this music video of the band I represent. It's an animated video with illustrations made by hand of this artist from Piura. It's 4,500 illustrations made by hand, and you can search for it on YouTube. Is Ven solo tú puedes rescatarme. Yes, the title is huge, but if you want to, you can check it out. It's an animated music video. I think it's either the first one or one of the is there a very few animated music videos in Peru, like made by hand, especially. Mm-hmm. It was made the same way that old Disney movies were made, remember? Obviously, you remember those. Mm-hmm. But when you have the frame and then you paint over it, yeah, and that was the same way they did it. Because, like I said,
what's the name of the band? Most importantly,
The name of the band is Just to in Japón. Yes, also a very unique name.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to search for it, you can do it, and then you find out why they are called that. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so the final thing that will get you through life under quarantine is a luxury item. What luxury item have you chosen?
A cell phone with eternal battery.
Okay.
Because I didn't know it was big like the charger as well, so I was like, cell phone with eternal battery.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can do everything with my cell phone. You know, I can listen to music, I can watch a movie, I can watch The Wizard of Oz, I can watch Doctor Who, I can listen to a little bit longer, I can do a podcast with my friends. So it's like everything I can do with my friends. So why will I leave it? Why will I not take? Yeah.
You're trying to cheat the system.
Well,
we've given you one movie, one TV show, one album, and you're saying no. My luxury item is going to be everything ever in the world.
Yes.
Well,
because it's eternal.
Very smart, Rosella. Very smart.
I know.
Okay. Well, with that, we finished talking about a little bit of everything, really. It wasn't just a movie, a TV show, an album. We talked about your passions. We talked about your past, and we talked a little bit about, your favorite things working at Mix. So thank you very much, Rosella. It was illuminating to hear a little bit about you, and I think there's things that we've not really heard from you before. So once again, thank you very much.
Yeah. Thanks to you, Ivan. I spent a really good time with you, as always.
Yeah. And so at home, we'll see you next week. As we said at the beginning of the podcast, if you have any suggestions or comments or people you want us to talk to or things you want us to talk about, then send a message on Instagram to the Mick page. And don't forget to like the video, don't forget to share it, and don't forget to subscribe. Yeah, and I feel like I'm a real YouTuber now. So thank you very much. Goodbye.
Bye.